Filling it up. This is what we're doing today. We're doing a hard deep clean. They just did a construction on this place, and the dust is absolutely everywhere. And we've got, what up, Mike? We got 3 offices, I think, a couple of office spaces, plus about 22,000 square feet of playing surface that is a rubber-backed flooring, so it's a very delicate floor surface. On the other side of that wall, we have maybe another 11 to 13,000 square feet of basically the same surface. And here, you can see what the owners have been trying. They've been trying to use these spin mops, a couple of mop buckets there. They've been using the this dust mop here, and then the TikTok mop over there, or the Temu mop, whatever. And I was explaining to the owner that this construction debris is not going to come up with any mop. Well, it will with enough time, but as far as, you know, how fast stuff needs to get done here, the mops are just not going to cut it. So you see this front area here. Oh, let me see. Let me find a spot. Oh, it's kind of hard to see, but let me just touch some of the. Here we go, right here. So, see all this dust right here. Right, that dust, if you can kind of see it on the floor. All this dust, they've been mopping it. They've been mopping it and mopping it and mopping it and mopping it and mopping it, and it has not been coming up. Which is why I explained to him, you know, the only thing that we're going to be able to do is extract it. That's going to be the fastest way. And, you know, we kind of went back and forth a little bit about our processes and stuff. But, you know, extracting it is really the only way. Because you see right here, you see all that kind of hazing on the floor. They've tried mopping it, but this construction debris, it just doesn't mop up quickly. So we use extractors. This is for the bathrooms. So we're using Kaivac. We've adapted that machine to work for us for the bathrooms. Anybody who knows anything about that machine, specific machine, it has a low pump pressure. Then all of this has construction dust. And the thing with these floors is they're textured. See that? And so what happens is that the dust will settle down into the cracks of the floors. And as the dust settles down, if you try to take even a larger scrubbing machine and you try to scrub the floors with the scrubbing machine, what happens is that the squeegee just kind of runs over everything and traps all the dirt right back into the micropores. Let me check and make sure I'm not overfilling. Is that machine okay? It's not overfilling?
Yeah, it still needs a bit more.
Okay. So the squeegee, as the squeegee runs over the surface of the floor, what's going to happen is that dust is going to settle down into the pores of the flooring. And so even the squeegee machine, your typical floor scrubber, is not going to be a great option for this. So we have a special tool, a special machine that we've specially adapted. Oh my God, special so many times. But it's a special machine, and we've adapted it to make it work for us because its original purpose is not what we use it for. So we've adapted it to make it work for these very delicate playing surfaces. Let me see if I can't find a piece of the playing surface. Actually, just up at the front, we had a couple of pieces. Let me just show you guys. Isn't this a gorgeous place? Table tennis is what they do here. And this flooring here, which mitigating the dust is always kind of the hard thing because your footprints can track dust everywhere. But this floor, as you can see, is a very, very thin, delicate foam floor. And so we do have a big scrubber that is better for this floor, but because the floor is so delicate and this foam actually can get damaged. Our big, massive scrubber weighs 1,100 pounds, and it's a walk-behind unit. It's not a ride-on, but it's still 1,100 pounds, and it absolutely compresses the foam to the point to where it's basically a bouncing spring, and there's no stiffness to it anymore. So we couldn't use that machine, which is our ideal machine for these kinds of surfaces. Any sort of rubber surface, like in a gym or anything like that, rock climbing gym, whatever, ice rink. Those surfaces, we have a special machine that is really strong at scrubbing and sucking the dirt up from the pores from where they sit versus relying on a squeegee. But the downside is that that machine weighs a lot. And for this specific floor, it would not work because it was too heavy. So we had to adapt, and we created that machine. And this machine here, we've basically modified it to where we can adjust the water flow, because this is not a machine that you can typically adjust the water flow on. So anyways, we're gonna get to it, and I'll show you updates as we go along. All right, so right now we're adjusting the flow to make sure we're not putting too much water down on the floor. That's about right. All right. All right, a little update, guys. Right? Oh, look at that little update. That's all we've done in the last 5 hours is eat pizza. No. All this is done. There's a little scrubber. I'm missing a couple of spots I'm gonna have to go back over, but that's kind of what it looks like without. And then this is what we initially were dealing with. Kind of hard to pick up on camera. It doesn't come out as well on camera as it does with your eyes, but as construction dust, that stuff is extremely hard to extract. Oh my God, it's hard to extract. We've made videos about it. We've had plenty of run-ins with it, you know. But yeah, this is why we don't mop, because with as much square foot as we have here, mopping would take absolutely forever. So the crew is in the other bathrooms here. They just finished up this back bathroom, and you see that hard line from where we ran the scrubber. Now, guys, the focus here, once again, with this client as well, the focus here is not getting it pristine. The focus is getting it clean enough to where they can open. So, separate arena, and we're just getting it clean to where they can open. They can start making money at this facility, get out of the old one. And this is basically finished floor for now. So they came in, they did all the wiping, they did all that, but this construction dust, you know, these counters are gonna have to get scraped. The floor is gonna have to get scraped. So the toilet's looking good, but a lot of this stuff is just gonna have to get scraped with a actual scraping tool. And so that's where we're at right now. You're basically done with this bathroom for now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is where we're at. So is this, is this presentable? Is this, our 100% quality? No, nowhere near it. But we have 30,000. We have about 30,000 square feet of facility, and we have 6 hours with 4 cleaners now. 6 hours, 4 cleaners for 35,000 square feet of construction dust. Not an easy undertaking, and I did warn the person, the owner of the facility, that this is not going to come out as pristine as you may hope it will come out, not with the time that we have. But right now we are in because we started at about 10 because we had an hour delay. 1, 2, 3. So we're in about 3.5 hours. So technically speaking, we're halfway done. And as you can see, we still have a ton to do. So, yep, just wanted to give you guys that update. I'm officially stopping for a moment to throw some pizza down the throat and then get back on the scrubber and try to finish up the rest of the facility. So. Okay guys, we're officially done here for the day. Now we are taking up janitorial services here, and so we are going to be cleaning this place again and again and again and again and again and again. And so because of that, it will look significantly better, but the dust on the floor is nowhere near as bad, and the floor kind of has its sheen, its shine back. They look much richer, but yeah, much better. So where you get back there where they haven't done any sort of, well, where we weren't able to clean, right? Kind of like up towards the construction areas and stuff like that, because they're still working in here. You can kind of see that dust, hard dust, was absolutely everywhere. Now, this dust up against the wall, it looks like dust. It's actually paint. So they had done a whole bunch of work to it, and obviously they haven't gotten up all of the dust. But this section here is a good example because we didn't touch this area. A lot of the stuff where they're doing work, that stuff that can't move easy, we just kind of ignored. But like this stuff here, that kind of dust right in there, and that kind of dust right there, that was basically throughout the entirety of this facility. Now it's construction dust, so it's really fine and incredibly difficult. So this section right here, it looks like we hadn't run. Actually, no, they just walked through it. Okay, you can see the fresh footprints. Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, why does it look like that? But that is because they went back into that room in there and obviously walked back out, and so you can't see that on the floor. But this is construction dust, construction, post-construction cleans. Everybody in the industry knows you're cleaning the entirety of the building 3 to 4 times. And so this is after just one single day of cleaning, and it looks a lot better. Now, the client doesn't want to do a real deep post-construction clean because of, there's our machine there. The client doesn't want to do a real deep post-construction clean because he just wants to get it open to where people can start using the facility. And so all of these things on the floor, all these marks you see on the floor here that we would normally scrape up with a scraper, we put a little bit of soap and water down and scrape at everything with the scraper. A lot of this stuff will not come up, some paint and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff won't come up unless it gets scraped, and that's in your like finish cleaning, your really, really fine detail cleaning. And that's what he didn't want. He didn't want that. He just wants to get this place up and functional to where they can start using the facility. So, so that's where we got with everything. So it does look 1,000 times better in here. That's gonna get some toiletable acid before I leave. It does look 1,000 times better in here. And like I said, we're not going for a super, super deep clean here. We're just going to the point to where they can use the facility. Because once they can use the facility, great. Until then, we're not doing anything that serious in here. So I'm just turning off all the lights, making sure everything's good to go. I'm gonna leave my Kaivac here charging. We completely killed this battery today. So we were able to get through all 5 bathrooms. There's 5 bathrooms here with 2 stalls each. We were able to clean all 5 bathrooms. Where are we at? Still just at the very lowest. We cleaned all 5 bathrooms as well as edged a lot of the building because obviously where my machine can't get, the Kaivac is able to get to. And it's basically a mobile scrubber. A lot of these machines do the same thing. They put water down, they agitate the floor, and then they suck the water up with suction. You know, whether they use squeegees or an extractor like we use for this facility because of the pores in the floor. We've used squeegees on these floors before, especially after a post-construction clean. It does not work any better. We prefer the extractor because we feel like it works quite fast. Typically after 2 passes of an entire facility, we can have all the dust up off of the floor. Now, he does have a room that has a legitimate smooth floor. And with a smooth floor, the floor scrubber that has a squeegee on the back is better than our carpet extractor that's back over there. But on these textured floors where there's a lot of micro texture in the floor, that dust will seep down into that micro texture. And it'll get trapped in there. And so as you squeegee over it, the rock dust or the sheetrock dust will not suspend in the fluid very long. And in the process of squeegeeing all the water to a single point, it'll start to go right back into the floor. So, or the dust will settle back into the pores of the floor. And so the floor looks great when you pass the machine over it the first time, but then after it dries, that's when you start seeing the sheetrock dust come up again. So if you see here, there's a couple of spots here. Here's a couple of spots where our scrubber machine came up, and you see this right here. So this is the trail of, so of course, as we're doing these machines are leaking, and we're picking up 90 or 85 to 90% of sheetrock dust the first time. And so as we're cleaning with the machines, the sheetrock dust will actually kind of settle and dry out. And so this is where we were having a little bit too much fluid coming out of the machine, and you can just kind of see where spots in here and stuff like that. You can kind of see where the product that we were using, the no-rinse product, had dried onto the floor. Now this is an example of why you have to be very careful with which product you choose. So this product here, now I'm not worried about this because I know that this is gonna come up with water, scrubbing, and extraction with the Kaivac over there. All of this is gonna come up, so I'm not worried about it. But this is an example of where you do have to be careful what chemical you choose. So these floors are an extremely delicate floor type, and any sort of acidic compound, any sort of basic compound, it's gonna start pulling up the color, right? So what we're using here is a commercial, janitorial specific, pH neutral, no rinse floor cleaner, okay? And so that's exactly what's going down. We're scrubbing it with a scrub brush, and we're picking it right back up with the extractor. And that combination has worked the best for us. But this over time will get picked up. It's just they don't want the finished cleaning. They don't want us to come through the building and clean the whole thing 4 times, because they're trying to get this thing up and running where they can just get people in it and start generating revenue. And so this is for them. This is good enough for now. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Would I love to do a finished cleaning on this place? Obviously. But just this facility alone, 30,000 square feet, out of the 28,000 square feet, we probably cleaned 24,000, or about 24,000. Out of the 24,000, it was 4 cleaners, and the total was 30 work hours. So 30 hours of cleaning is how much time we spent inside of this facility. So I did one thing all day, and that was use the carpet extractor. Another cleaner was on the Kaivac all day. Another cleaner was doing bathrooms. Another cleaner was doing windows. And the windows are a perfect example. So you can see, the up and down motion of his rag. Somebody wasn't following orders. I told him use a squeegee, because a squeegee is going to be a lot better for sheetrock dust, and he opted for glass cleaner and a rag. Well, that's the result of glass cleaner and a rag. So I'm going to have to come back and fix that, but I'm done for the day. I've got family in town, and I absolutely prioritize family. So I'm going to go hang out with them. But in the meantime, we're through here. I've sent my cleaners home. They've been gone for the past 2.5 hours. I've just been here finishing up everything. And so yeah, so that's where we're at. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm tired, very tired. We kind of had a bunch of back-to-back really deep cleans. We just did a hockey arena.